What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. It is Sunday, August 3rd, day number 27 inside the Big Brother house. Veto competition was yesterday. Who won? And is it time for Mickey to make a big move? And is it even the right call to do so? Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, we do have an episode tonight. It is the HOH and the nomination ceremony. We'll see everything that happens with the HOH takeover. So if you guys want to do a watch party, let's do another little challenge for you. We hit it a couple of times. If you guys get the 1,500 likes, we will have a watch party here tonight for the episode. But a little bit of a recap. If you guys haven't been keeping up, we'll see a lot of this take place tonight. Rylie won the HOH, and it looked like he possibly was going to nominate Mickey, Morgan, and Ashley. But Mickey used her power, which Rylie failed to correctly identify was Mickey. So Mickey takes over control of the HOH. She ends up nominating Keanu, Kelly, and Rylie. That takes us to yesterday, which started with Ashley getting really bothered by Kelly for just kind of being upset at being on the block and her situation. So eventually Rachel went and talked to Kelly just to, check in on her. And they went back and forth, and it had a little bit of sass from Kelly. She would spit back things to Rachel and that she would say, like, Rachel would just be like, oh yeah, you know what? You're like really great at these competitions. Like, you're crushing at the Blockbuster. And Kelly would just be like, yeah, I am, ain't I, right? Rachel looked like she might explode if Kelly kept it up. But that all ended fairly normal. Other than that, it was pretty quiet morning. Will was chilling. But veto picks were made. Morgan and Rachel were picked to join Keanu, Kelly, Rylie, and Mickey in the veto competition. Kelly actually got house guest choice and picked Rachel, which right away Keanu was able to realize that must have meant that they got to Kelly on the other side. And he knew going into this that it was not looking good for him if he did not pick up this win. Mickey said it's a 5v1. Everyone knows not to use it. And Rylie and Kelly won't even use it on themselves if they win. Mickey really has a lot of confidence that people are going to be Marcellusing themselves while they just stay on the block after winning veto. And I just don't know if that really was the case here, Mickey. It seems like if that was to happen, Mickey would have to make a renom, because I don't think you're just going to get people to really just do that. Probably most likely would be Rylie, since he did say he would do it to keep Katherine on the block. But that does take us to a very stacked deck against Keanu in this power of veto competition. For the entertainment and chaos of the house, I think a lot of us were pulling for Keanu to pull this one off, and it was a nat 20 full-on crit hit. Keanu wins the power of veto. He is now going to be able to pull himself off the block, and it's amazing. It's amazing to see it happen. The guy pulls it off once again. He's really bad at the game. His social game, terrible. But he's been one of the most unintentionally comedic characters that we've had in the seasons for a very long time in that house. So I'm kind of glad that he ended up winning this, mainly because it adds some more interesting things that are going to happen here with the renom, and we'll get to all that. It sounded like the competition was some sort of memory deal, kind of like with a sequence. Do you guys remember? It was almost like the glass bridge competition they did with Squid Games, where like you had to like bounce back and forth on the pads and guess which one was the right answer. And then if you got it wrong, you would start over, and they ran it in heats. I think it was that. Rylie apparently was a close second in the competition. He really afterwards was really down on himself, felt really bad that he lost it. He felt like he let a lot of people down, including Katherine. Rachel actually said that at one point she was ahead of Keanu, and then all of a sudden he won. So it sounds like it was a really good competition. Keanu coming up big, especially for himself, but us to add a little bit of chaos into this. Jimmy was also said to be the first one to congratulate Keanu after his win. And then at some point, I don't know when exactly in the competition, was it afterwards, Keanu had kind of gotten into a little bit of an altercation with Ava of all people. He said it was just kind of in the heat of the moment, and he yelled at Ava, and he actually felt really bad about it afterwards, and they apologized. Funny though, Zach said that Ava's Long Island accent really came out for that one. So the Long Island dinner, it finally shows up. So hopefully we get to see a lot of that on Wednesday's episode. But in the end, they seem to have kind of hugged it out. Even late into the night, they kind of, reiterated their apologies to each other. And Keanu was like, listen, I just appreciate you for even accepting my apology. Like, I feel really bad about this. So it seems that for now, they are on okay terms. What else do we have? This all means, though, that Mickey, she will have to make a big decision here for her renoms. She can either just put up Katherine, which would definitely push Rylie into who knows what kind of a rampage. He has said multiple times that he would do anything he can to make sure that Rylie would stay in the game. So that is an option, but you definitely would have a very angry Rylie at you, and you would guarantee that at the very least, one of them would go, but also one of them would stay. And if it happened to be Rylie, that's a big thing that's going to be coming after you. And he's shown that he's actually pretty good at these competitions once he gives it a shot. Lauren is also a possibility, but she had made the deal with Lauren last week to keep Ashley safe. They were all saying that the girls would keep Lauren safe until jury. So that could be an option. And she would go back on that deal, but it would be something that I kind of predicted probably would happen. Deals like that, they don't really last. When you have somebody who's in danger, you shouldn't really trust those deals. But the other thing she could do is maybe take a big shot at someone like Vince. She could go at someone like Zach, maybe even Jimmy. Rachel went right to work. Rachel was really pushing for Vince to be the renom. But Mickey said like she wasn't really thinking about doing that right now. And she wouldn't really commit really to anything at all just yet about who she was going to renom. Morgan and Mickey, though, they end up meeting up with Keanu afterwards just to kind of talk things out. And they go all the way back with everything, right? About him calling them snakes and how that even got to them in the first place. And how they feel like people are kind of stirring the pot and making them go after each other. He really pushes that, Vince and Zach with that vote really showed that they're playing the middle of everything that's been going on. They also tell Keanu that Kelly actually pitched for Keanu to be backdoored instead of being put up right away, which he thought was really messed up to hear. But Mickey and Morgan eventually do tell him that, listen, at the end of the day, you know who told us that you were coming after us? It was Jimmy. So they really are starting to hone in on Jimmy being the one that is really stirring the pot and really messing things up, along with even Rachel, who's kind of right by his side. And they seem to all, for now, agree to stop going after each other. Again, for now, Katherine was pretty much already saying she knows it's going to be me, but Mickey actually told her, she's like, look, not necessarily, right? Like maybe there is someone else. Maybe we can do something here because I don't necessarily want to put you up on the block. And Katherine suggested Zach, which would probably be the most entertaining way this could all go about, is if Zach went up on the block, because he would immediately come right back off with his 10K bribe, but nobody knows that. Later, Katherine actually told Rylie, she just made up a name. She was like, I didn't know who to say, so I just made one up. Rylie and Kelly also are both pretty upset at Mickey for even, putting them into this position and not backdooring Keanu in the first place. And they said, after this, like, she's their number one target. Like, either way, if either of them stay, like, that's who we're going after, is Mickey. But Rylie also has said, like, if he keeps going up on the block, he might just do like Will said and just quit, right? And it's like, look, Rylie, right now, not a huge loss. Not a huge loss. And I think you guys know how I feel about quitters. I said the same thing with Will. It's like, if you're just threatening to quit, just quit then and walk out the door. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. You're there to play the game. You signed up for this. You know what you're getting on into. Don't go on and then complain and moan when you're in a bad spot. Do something to fix your spot, which Rylie might have started doing. We'll get to that. Mickey and Morgan, again, went over renom situations and their options, going forward right now. Mickey did say she's unsure about her final four with Vince and Zach and Morgan, and she's not 100% sure if that's something that she can actually trust. And we do know that she's been that way for a while now with Vince and Zach. But Jimmy is also thrown out there as well with the whole thing with him stirring up the pot with Keanu. They don't really like the idea that the only reason Keanu ever had them in mind as a target is because of Jimmy. And that is something that really could hurt them, especially since Keanu seems to be pretty good at some of these competitions. He keeps winning his way off the block in tight spots. So if he would have pulled off an HOH win, Mickey and Morgan, one of them could not even be here right now because they would have been put on the block by Keanu, all because of Jimmy. So they really are starting to hone in that, like, yeah, Jimmy's really been playing both sides. He's stirring the pot, and he's really kind of making a lot of trouble for us. And it could be a thing. Jimmy joined them. He must have been picking up on something because he was saying he had felt kind of a weird vibe. He told Mickey, like, we're all good and everything's going to be good. And he was even even suggesting that Vince could be a potential renom situation as well. Rachel did some work on Rylie and Katherine about how much she was pulling for them, and they could end up like her and Brendan. This is all stuff she said before. She said someday they could be married with kids, just like me and Brendan. Basically, she's just laying the groundwork that should one of them leave, she can just kind of have them fall right into her pocket later, being like, look, I was always on your side. I was always trying to help you. And this is exactly why you don't let a vet cook, right? They're just go on in there and build numbers and build these connections that, they might not be like full on alliances, but these are things that you can leverage later in the game to hopefully get you further when you need to. And again, people seem to be kind of just dragging Rachel along at this point. A lot of people are thinking like, yeah, she'd be easy to beat in the final two. We can bring her to jury. There's no issue with that. But that's half the battle, is just even getting to the final two in the first place. So the longer you let her stay, the more she kind of realizes, okay, who are the people on the outs? Another big thing that I always kind of suggest, right? If you see somebody who's on the outs, like a Keanu, for example, give him a home. If you can give him a home and make him feel comfortable, he will be loyal to you forever. So it's a thing right now where it's like, you got to be careful with Rachel because she could end up being a real threat, and a lot of people are overlooking her right now. Morgan and Mickey kind of continue to go over all the ideas, and really the big idea of putting up Jimmy. They do worry, though, that if they pull this move, the whole house would end up against them. They're like, we would have to kind of frame it right. We'd pretty much have to spill all the alliance he was trying to build, all the lies that Jimmy's been spreading, and they'd really have to kind of go and make sure that like people are okay with this. They were going to do it. They don't want to just surprise and stun people. So there could be a lot of really more discussions that are going to be going on today, because we still have a whole day until the veto ceremony on Monday. So it's going to be a very interesting time watching this all develop even further. Because like I said, they're still not 100% in on this, but they're very much looking at Jimmy as a big option. They even talk about potentially forming a new group now, which would end up being Mickey, Morgan, Vince, Zach, Ashley, and Will, which is kind of similar to things that have happened before. But we'll get to why Ashley and Will maybe aren't the best choices to bring on into this. Rylie had a really, really long talk with Mickey. Boils down to, please do not put up Katherine. Mickey says, like, listen, that is not the move I want to make. Like, I really don't want to do that. And Rylie pushed for a big move. He's like, look, this is your chance. This is your moment. Like, if you were ever going to make a shot at something big, this is the time to do it. And after they kind of go over like who they trust the most and stuff like that, Rylie even actually makes a pretty good guess that it could be Jimmy that could go up as the renom. Rylie and Mickey, their whole conversation finally ends, but she says, listen, putting Katherine up is not my plan. But if things change, I will come and tell you, and I will let you know. And he says, like, if you don't put Katherine up, like, I will gun for that HOH, and I will protect you, Mickey. So it could be a thing, but remember what I said before. When someone's in danger, never trust that deal. They will say whatever they need to get out of danger. There's a power dynamic there. You have the power. If someone's in danger, you probably can't trust what they're trying to say to you, because they will get you to do whatever they want by saying whatever they can. Now, is Rylie maybe actually something where it's like, hey, maybe not right away, right? You did put me up right now, but if you do this favor for me, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, sure. But long term, it doesn't seem like that would be really a good idea for Mickey to do. Would be really entertaining though. Meanwhile, while this was all going on, Morgan was filling in Vince on, what's been happening. She says, look, I don't know what Mickey will end up doing, but Jimmy could be an option. Vince asked if he was in any danger, and Morgan's like, yeah, I mean, but like nobody's pushing your name. Like, don't worry, you're fine. Let's talk about Jimmy. But it is interesting that Vince, he knows, like, hey, like this would be a great spot for somebody to throw me up on the block right now, and I would be in a lot of danger. While that was all going on, though, Ashley was out having a conversation with Rachel and Will in the backyard. Guess what that was all about? She was giving them all the info about the other night when Mickey, Morgan, Zach, Vince were all up in the HOH room along with Ashley, and they were talking about jury. Rachel is not happy to hear about this. She's like, wait, they want me to be the first one in jury? And Will says, it's cute, it's cute that they have that final four up there. And Rachel's like, yeah, it's cute they're delusional. So another reason why, hey, that group that Mickey and Morgan were talking about earlier, probably not the best idea to be including Ashley in there, especially because Zach does not trust Ashley, Vince does not trust Ashley, and Ashley really just kind of throws them all under the bus just as much as Jimmy does. So probably not the best idea. Ava, Ashley, Mickey, Morgan, they have a little bit of a girls' night, right, up in the HOH. But Rylie and Vince, they come on and hang out too. They did face masks and cucumbers over their eyes. It was silly. It was just all them being goofy. But maybe a little bit of a hot take here. This is something that actually is really important that Rylie's doing. This is Rylie showing a different side of himself. This is him, probably showing the most personality I've seen from Rylie in 26 days. He is being fun and goofy. He was letting them put his hair up in a bun and pigtails. He was just having a good time, and everybody was enjoying themselves. He also had some wine earlier in the night, so maybe that's the problem. We just needed to give Rylie a good old bottle of wine, and he would have been a much chiller dude. But like I was saying, this could be really important because if Mickey was even 50% on potentially making that move against Jimmy and keeping Katherine off the block, this 100% could ease doubts about Rylie with Mickey. So this could be something that could even sway her even more, saying, yeah, I have the confidence now to make this move. Is it false confidence, though, right? Like I said, Rylie has mentioned before that no matter what, he would go after Mickey and he'd be her number one target. But this is before her saying, like, hey, maybe I won't put Katherine up on the block, and him saying that I would protect you, and him doing this with the girls' night stuff, right? Maybe it is stuff that's actually working. Not 100% sure just yet, but this is where we're at right now. Mickey was eventually called to the diary room, so that kind of started to break things up. But not before Ashley actually mentioned the Keanu. She's like, yeah, you know what? They're all hanging out up there, right? I think Mickey's out of there, but everybody else is still up there. So you go see what's up, join the party. And he does. He goes up there and chats for a little bit. Nothing really big. No game stuff was really taking place. Just everybody's just kind of enjoying each other's company and having fun. Just on a nice Saturday night, right? And like I said, this stuff can matter a lot, right? Just Keanu going on up there and feeling comfortable to actually join that group and make some jokes, that actually can matter so much. That's proven right by the very next conversation, because Morgan and Vince are the last ones up in the HOH room. And she says, like, it was really nice that Keanu came up and hung out with us there for a little bit. And she feels so bad about like how he's being treated, and like nobody was rooting for him in the veto competition. And yeah, his social game sucks, but maybe it wasn't Keanu's fault. Maybe it was somebody else's, AKA Jimmy made it that way. And Vince is kind of saying, yeah, right, I hear you, right? And he would be a great friend outside. I just don't know 100%. And Vince still tries to push that, Katherine probably should go up. The thing that's weird here, right? And I've talked before about, like, if you're in a position and people are coming to you saying the same name, right? It's probably a good idea not to do that name, right? Everybody's saying, just put up Katherine, right? But this time is actually a little bit different because there's different reasons on why some of them are saying the name. Vince, for example, here is only saying Katherine because, again, he fears he could be the other option if it's not Katherine. I also don't know how we would feel 100% about that Jimmy nomination, right? Like anybody but me, but Jimmy does also have a little bit of connection to Vince. So this is one of those things where it's like Vince really could just say, yeah, right, let's go for it. Let's do Jimmy and forget about Katherine and try and sway that even further into a move that I think in the long run would help Vince's game way more than it would help Morgan and Mickey's game. But because he feels like he could be an option, he's not pushing that. And it's kind of interesting to see that all play out. Eventually, though, they did all go to bed, but Mickey still is kind of unsure about what to do. Would she put up Katherine, or would she, like she's been kind of leaning towards the end of the night here, go with Jimmy as the renom? We could take a look at our allegiance chart here and try and break down just a bit. Would this actually be a good move or not? Because here's the thing. I don't think it actually would be a good move for Katherine. Yes, or for Mickey. If you put Katherine up on the block, you are going to get Rylie pissed off. But he's already pissed off at you, right? Like he's already probably going to be gunning for you. Yes, he says, if I win the HOH, I'd protect you. But you can't count on that when you're in a position of power. Even in this case, where it might be true that Mickey might be misting him a little bit, the same thing could be said where Rylie could have just turned the game on and been like, yeah, you know what? It is 4 weeks into this game. Like Vince says, he's like, he hasn't played the game in 4 weeks. So maybe Rylie really has just woken up, started playing the game now that Katherine's in danger, and he's just saying whatever he wants to with Mickey. So you really can't trust it that much. So I think at the end of the day, it would be smarter just for her to nominate Katherine. But for all of us, for all of our entertainment, it would be amazing if she makes a big move here and goes for someone like Jimmy. She could even go for someone like Vince, but again, I think Morgan is really doing a good job of helping that and making her feel more comfortable in Zach and Vince. Even though Mickey and Morgan both know, like, yeah, there is stuff kind of going on with the three of them, Morgan is doing a good job of convincing her that that foursome, right, of Mickey, Morgan, Zach, and Vince are a good Final Four, and they can go all the way to the end. And actually, I don't think Vince and Zach necessarily would be upset with that either, right? It's not like they're really going against Mickey right now. Their bigger goal is they would rather get Ashley out of the house because they don't trust her. And with good reason. Ashley, like I said, throws Mickey and Morgan under the bus just as much as Jimmy has been throwing them under the bus, which while they are numbers on their side, that makes you start to doubt them and makes you start to think, maybe I can't trust this person. Because if we look at the map, Ashley and Jimmy squarely over in the side where Mickey and Morgan are, where Katherine and Rylie are all the way over with Keanu and Kelly. And Keanu's another one that they're actually thinking, hey, maybe he did just get put in a bad position with Jimmy. And there is also the potential, right? There is the potential that they can build that relationship back with Rylie and Keanu. But I'll tell you, it is slim to none, right? It is one of those things where it's possible, but it's so hard to do. And most cases, it doesn't end up that way. Once you burn somebody in this game, it can just stay in their head because there's nothing else to do in there, right? It's not like, when you're at work and one of your coworkers, pisses you off, you can just go home, watch a movie, right? Have a good dinner, get away from that person for a while. No, you got to see them for 24 hours a day, all day, every day. And there's no getting away from the situation. There's no way to just entertain yourself and get away from all of this and just unplug your brain for a little bit. It circles in your head. So while she could potentially build those bonds back with Rylie and Keanu, even Katherine now too, I think you would want to stay with the Ashley and Jimmy more so because they would probably be loyal to you way more than the others would. But that said, it does make it for way more entertaining and of experience for us, and definitely would be team #funfeeds if we got this done. But what do you guys think of everything going on right now? Do you think Mickey should make a big move? Should she go up and put Jimmy up on the block? Should she put Vince or Zach up on the block? Actually, Zach's probably the most entertaining one, like I said. There's a lot of different ways she could go, or she could just do the easier route, put Katherine up on the block, and just know that Keanu, Katherine, Rylie, Kelly, whoever ends up staying of the other three, they would all end up coming at her afterwards. So it's interesting to see how this is all going to play out, but we do have a whole day now until the veto ceremony. So a lot can happen. What if Jimmy finds out about all this information, right? They did say they don't necessarily want to blindside people with this. They kind of want to get them on board first because they worry about the house being upset about it afterwards. So there will be conversations today, and there will be conversations about whether or not they should do this. And if those conversations do get leaked back to Jimmy, there could be a lot of fireworks. They also wonder, hey, if Jimmy goes up on the block, is he the type of person that's going to blow up the heavy hitters? Probably. Probably. And they know that, and they accept it, and it seems like that is all stuff they're weighing on their decision as well with this. They do know that they probably can't tell Rachel about this until like very late, so they're going to work on probably everybody else beforehand, but it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. That's pretty much all I got for you guys. Thank you guys all again so much for watching. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Like I said, there is an episode tonight. It's the HOH competition. We'll also see the overthrow take place and the interrogations, as well as nominations, hopefully all on the episode. Maybe they don't. Maybe we don't get those till Wednesdays. It is a 90-minute episode after all on Wednesdays. But either way, should be a lot of really interesting things to see, because I also have a lot of questions about this HOH competition stills that will be answered on the episode. So if you guys want to do a watch party, hit that like button. If we get to 1,500 likes, we will do a watch party here on the channel. Check out all the links to my socials, pinned comment, description down below. You can check out things like Twitter or Discord. Discord's always great. Like, if you guys have not joined up on Discord yet, you can do it on your phone. There's an app. You can do it on the PC through the desktop app as well. It's a great place to kind of hang out and chat about what's going on the feeds, what's happening on other reality shows. You want to talk about some sports, even if you just want to post pictures of your pets. It's a great place to hang out, especially now that there's no live chat on the live feed page. If you're looking for a place to hang out like you used to, come on, check out the Discord, because there's plenty of people in there chatting about what's going on. Thank you guys all again so much for the love and support you guys have been showing me on this channel. It has just been amazing, and I really can't thank you guys enough. Like I said, there's things like the Ori Fund down there. Hit up the Ori Fund. It helps support Oris everywhere. Always appreciated, never required. Actually, don't do it. Don't. But thank you guys all so much for everything you do, and I will see you tonight.
Bye. Bro, why am I fire at rock, paper, scissors, shoot? We're probably crawling in the ants. I'm crying. This is my second win